John writes to me and he says, "Hey Paul, I have an excellent soundstage from left to right and an excellent center image, and I can pinpoint instruments in the soundstage. A friend has said that she notices depth coming from my system, but while I hear some depth, it does not seem to approach what you describe in your videos. On the Octave Records disc from your book, The Audiophile's Guide, the loudspeaker, when I play the 3, 6, and 9-foot depth tracks on that Audiophile's reference disc, I hear the volume decrease and the ambience of the room change, but I don't seem to perceive the distance as far as what it's described in the recording. The front of the speakers is 3 feet from the wall behind them, and the speakers are Focal Sopra number 2. How can I get more depth?" One of the reasons in the Audiophile's Guide, there's a book and there is the associated record with it, and whether you get the Audiophile's Guide, the stereo or the loudspeaker, we put the same 3 depth tracks on that, and we did it for a very specific reason, which is now driving our friend John crazy. Sorry, John. And for those of you that have not heard that, it's a couple of gals that are singing, our own Jessica Carson, who is the director of Octave Records. And they sing, so the microphones are here, and so the first one they sing is 3 feet away from the microphones. Then they move back, and they're out in the warehouse, and they sing 6 feet back, and then they move back and they sing 9 feet back. And on this system, that's exactly what you hear. You hear them about here, then you hear them at that wall, and then, to your astonishment and delight, they are outside in the other room. Behind this wall is the warehouse, but whatever. They go beyond the wall. And it's very obvious, and it's very clear, and it's one of the reasons why we put those tracks on the Audiophile's Guide. So, John isn't having that happen. Well, the first thing that I think, and this is always a problem, and it's a problem because I describe in the book very clearly how to get that, and not everybody's able to do it. And it sounds like John can't either. So what he has said to me is that from the front of the speaker to the rear wall is like 3 feet. Well, that's like the wall is like right here. The thing about soundstage depth, there's a couple of things about it. First off, the 2 components of soundstage depth are the actual acoustic occurrence, that whether your eyes are closed or open, you hear and you gauge what's happening with that depth. The second thing that happens is a visual aspect, which we cannot ignore, because remember, all of this is an illusion. Life is an illusion. But all of this, we're making up a 3-dimensional image that is not really there. We have to remember, everything's coming out of the front of these speakers, right? Yet, when you sit in that seat, you hear nothing coming out of the speaker, and you hear nothing coming out of this speaker. Everything is behind the speakers with miles of depth. Well, that's an illusion. And it is either enhanced or not enhanced by your eyes being open or closed. So the first thing I recommend to you, try it with your eyes closed or turn the lights off and see if that helps or hurts. If it helps, like, oh, I can actually hear them stepping back now, then you have a visual problem, which there's a number of ways that we can help you solve that. The more likely scenario is you're too close to the front wall. In order to have a good soundstage, you have to have some room to where the speakers can breathe, to where you can have something behind it. And I say it's a problem because in many cases, people don't have the real estate at home to do it. And if that's the case for you and you can't pull them out into the room, then it's going to be a combination of what you can do on the rear wall. And sometimes you got a bookcase and a television and it's right there. That's going to be tough. You may not be able to get that kind of depth that you're looking for. You just may not. So the 2 things I can recommend, 3 things, whatever it is, if you can't pull them away, that's the first thing you do, is you pull them away. Try the visual thing to see which one works for you. But if you can manage to diffuse the rear wall, that really, really helps a lot. You can do it with books. Different lengths, different depths of books really helps. You could have something like that, which may or may not be acceptable into the home. Also, move your listening position. Now, I know in the Audiophile's Guide we talk a lot about where it's going to be best for bass and all that, but playing that record, move forward and backwards and see if there isn't a point where all of a sudden that 9-foot depth actually works for you. And it may just have to be your seat that moves. So there's some suggestions. Good luck with that. And do drop me an email, paul@psaudio.com. It's pretty easy. Happy to answer any questions. Okay, good luck. Thanks.